This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
You have big dreams of losing weight and creating a healthy, joyful life. But you find yourself craving sugar, caught up in what the scale says, and diet hopping. Dieting is the old way of losing weight. And the good news is I'm going to give you a new way of eating so you can ditch diets for good and build a healthy relationship with real food. My name is Megan Olson, certified nutrition practitioner, creator of Skinny Fitalicious, and your host of the Dish on Diets show.
Hello, friends. I hope you are doing well. Wow, summer is flying by. Doesn't it feel like that every year? I mean, August is just a few days away, and soon it's going to be fall. Then it's going to be the holidays, and then January all over again. And I think one thing that happens for a lot of midlife women during the summer months is that you kind of just want to have fun. And you just want to check out. So you're not really paying too much attention to your health habits. Maybe you're kind of sort of doing your calorie deficit, not really dialed in so much, you know? And the thing is when summer ends, you're like, oh, I had too much fun this summer and I don't like the way I look and feel. I need to get back on track. And so then you go from like having all this fun and not paying attention. And now you're back into like, I got to get into weight loss mode. I got to be super strict. I got to buckle down and be disciplined. So you go back into weight loss mode until the holidays. And now the holidays are here and you're off track again until January. And then you're back into weight loss mode. This is the perpetual cycle most people live in every year for decades. That is not normal if you're doing that. That is absolutely not normal. And I know a lot of people live in this perpetual cycle because that used to be me. And that is the cycle many of my midlife clients are in when they come to work with me. In fact, I have an entire podcast episode where I talk about the annual diet cycle women are on and how to stop it, how to stop that cycle, because it is not normal. It is disordered. So the episode where I talk about this is episode 95, The Costly Summer Mistake. Go listen to that episode after you get done listening with this discussion today. And honestly, this is going to fit in really well with our topic today because I want to talk to you about a really common pitfall that happens for midlife women that they get trapped in during their health and weight journey, and it's avoiding discomfort and why avoiding discomfort is keeping you stuck. Now, before we head into our discussion, one important thing I want to just share with you. I am going to be taking fewer clients from now until the end of 2025. I have a website that is 11, almost 12 years old, and it really needs some of my time and attention right now. So if you've been considering one-to-one weight loss coaching, schedule a consultation with me because I am going to be doing fewer consultations. I'm only going to be offering like 2 a month from now until the end of 2025. January 2026, I will be offering and opening up more consultations and appointments. They'll become more available. So if you've been thinking about doing weight loss coaching, please schedule a consultation. I am a medical provider, so please make sure you schedule a consultation. Don't just send me a message on social media, okay? And if you are a previous client, you need some help with something, just email me. You don't need to set up a consultation for that. So let's get into our discussion about discomfort and why discomfort is sabotaging you in your weight loss journey, because it is. Now, I've coached 1,000 midlife women over the course of 11 years, and something I've noticed very frequently is women avoiding things when it gets hard. Let me give you a couple of examples. My grandkids came into town for the weekend, so I didn't track my food because it was too hard. I went to a restaurant and I didn't know how to track, so I didn't track my food because it was too hard. I had a hard day, so I didn't walk. I was stressed with work and tracking my food and getting a walk was too hard. Are you seeing the theme here? You are always dropping your habits when it's hard. You're avoiding doing something because it's hard. My question is, why do you think this should be easy? Why do you think losing weight should be easy? It's a goal. You are literally learning how to take care of your health, which nobody has ever taught you how to do. Why would you think learning something new should be easy and it shouldn't be faced with some discomfort from time to time? I mean, could you imagine if your kid came home from school and said, I didn't do any of my math homework because it was too hard? I mean, you would probably suggest to your child that they do the math problems that they could finish and then ask for help on the rest, right? Seems pretty practical, right? You would never tell your kid, yeah, you probably shouldn't do anything. Don't do any math homework. Even the stuff you know how to do, just avoid it. Don't do any of it because you don't want to do the hard stuff. So even the stuff you know how to do, don't even bother doing it, kid. You would never tell that to your kid, right? But this is the thing, like you need to change how you are thinking when it comes to losing weight and taking care of your health. And a lot of you, this is why you get stuck, because your thinking is a problem. So instead of doing nothing, do something. And that should absolutely be your mentality. Something always better than nothing. Take eating out. I see this very frequently with clients. They say, Megan, I went out to eat, but I didn't know how to track, so I didn't track my food. I did nothing. I mean, that would be no different than your child saying they did zero math homework. When you eat out at a restaurant, you track what you can, or you take your best guess and move on. You're never going to know with 100% certainty with restaurant food, but having some data is better than no data, just like having some math homework is better than no math homework. That needs to be your mindset. You see, many of you still look at your health habits like walking, eating protein and fiber, strength training, as only a means to losing weight. So anytime you encounter resistance or something feels harder than normal, or you're outside of your normal structure and routine, outside of your home, you do nothing. That mindset needs to change. These habits are for you to be healthy, feel your best, be at your best, and show up and be better as a parent and as a partner. Losing weight is simply a byproduct of taking care of your health. Many women still identify themselves as someone who's not healthy. They identify as someone who is unreliable. Do you identify as someone who takes care of their oral health? If you didn't take care of your oral health, your teeth would rot and fall out if you didn't. This is why you brush your teeth no matter what is happening in your life. You don't stop brushing your teeth because your grandkids come to town for the weekend. It takes the same amount of time to track your food as it does to brush your teeth. It shouldn't matter that your grandkids are in town, but you don't look at it that way. The difference is you look at these habits as something you got to do to lose weight. You don't look at it as your body getting weaker and deteriorating because you're not taking care of your health. So in these moments, when it is harder to do the habits, you justify not doing them because you're like, well, I'll work on weight loss later. That's the mentality you have. I'll work on weight loss later. I can put that on hold. I'm okay where I'm at right now. I can put this off, except when you do that, you're reinforcing the identity of you being somebody who never takes care of their health. You reinforcing the identity of you being somebody who never achieves weight loss and maintains it. You are also eroding the trust within yourself. You are literally creating this unhealthy relationship with yourself where you're chipping away in your belief in yourself. You literally stop believing in yourself that you are going to follow through and be reliable and ever reach this goal. I spoke about this in the last podcast episode where I said if you had a friend who always made plans with and they were constantly blowing you off, eventually that friendship would diminish because you would not trust that your friend was reliable. That is what you are doing to yourself in your weight journey and not realizing how detrimental it is to your mindset and how you feel about yourself. Now, you feel unreliable to yourself. And probably for a lot of you, you already have a lot of evidence of failing other diets in the past. You identify as somebody who never takes care of their health. And now you see yourself not doing things when the going gets tough. What do you think psychologically that does to your motivation to continue going? What do you think that does to your consistency? And how does that impact your results? It means you're not going to be motivated. You are going to be inconsistent and results will be minimal at best. But that is not truly what you want for yourself. Is it? I mean, that means in the times when it's hard, when you encounter resistance, when your life is different, more stressful, when you are uncomfortable, you must show up and do something. You don't need to do it perfect. You don't need to be 100% accurate. You need to show up and do something. Something versus nothing. That must be your mentality. You are missing out on all the opportunities for you to grow and get better at doing these habits that you are trying so hard to build when you avoid the times when it's hard. How will you ever figure out how to get steps if you don't force yourself to do something on the days when you have more stress, more things to juggle? How will you ever maintain weight loss long term if you don't track at a restaurant? You're never going to know how to maintain. Never. You're never going to know the portion sizes because you're always avoiding the hard. Chances are high you're going to have more of these situations, more of these stressful days in your life. They're never going to stop. I mean, chances are you're going to eat out at a restaurant again someday, right? And likely you eat a lot of the same kinds of foods at the restaurants that you go to. How will you ever know the proper portion size for you if you don't go through the hard right now while you're trying to lose weight and track what you eat? If you are avoiding that, you're avoiding all the learning that's going to help you maintain. This is what I mean. You have to look at this stuff different. You can no longer be the person that just avoids doing it when it's hard. You got to sit down and figure it out. And you have to understand it's supposed to be hard. You have a goal. You're learning. And until you get through the learning curve, it's not going to be easy. I mean, when my life is extra stressful, I double down on my nutrition and fitness so I can be at my highest self. I never, ever quit taking care of myself first. That never crosses my mind. Never. I figure out how to reprioritize my schedule, delegate to others, ask for help, how to do the best I can, and fit in something versus nothing. Honestly, this is what sets apart the people who achieve weight loss versus those who just continue to spin their wheels. They are avoiding the hard. The hard is where you build resiliency. The hard is where you build trust with yourself and confidence. The hard times are where you learn how to pivot and make easier meals. The hard is where you learn how to juggle your life while taking care of your health. The hard is where you will make mistakes, but you are never going to learn from those mistakes unless you go through something hard and say, well, I guess that didn't work. What am I going to try the next time that thing happens? Avoiding the hard, avoiding the discomfort is sabotaging you, and it's keeping you 100% stuck. Discomfort is where we grow. Growth comes from discomfort, and these normal life situations like going to a barbecue, going to a restaurant, kids getting sick, a parent getting injured, someone passing away, grandkids coming to visit, work stress, house stress, family drama, none of that is going to ever stop. And there is no shortcut. There is nothing that circumvents making that easier. That means you must learn how to navigate these real life situations instead of quitting, taking care of yourself first and doing something versus nothing. Like when my father passed away 2 years ago, which I talked a lot about on this podcast, I didn't stop eating protein. I didn't stop going on walks. I kept doing all those things the best that I could. And honestly, not doing those things would have made me feel a lot worse. My mental health, my physical health would have been much, much worse. Dealing with my father passing away, very traumatic, very sad, if I hadn't been taking care of myself. And that's the problem. A lot of people, they stop taking care of themselves first. Something happens, bam, I stop taking care of myself. That would be no different than you stopping brushing your teeth. It's so silly. You need to figure out, how do I do something versus nothing? Because stopping taking care of yourself should never be the first resort. That should always be your last resort. You are going to encounter hard situations in your weight loss journey, situations that feel harder than when you are at home or just when life is normal and calm. Those uncomfortable situations where you are outside of your comfort zone are the learning opportunities. That's exactly where you grow and get better. Those are most often the times when women stop, women quit, and women do nothing because it's too hard. Why would you think it should be easy? You're not going to learn how to do this stuff unless you make yourself uncomfortable and force yourself to go through it. You go on a weekend trip with your girlfriends, force yourself to track your food. Force yourself to take your best guess. Most of us want to avoid the discomfort of doing that, but going through the discomfort is exactly what you need to do to get to where you want to be. There's no getting around that. There is no shortcut to that. There is no Amazon priming that. Taking the easy way out is never going to serve you. And in fact, you will find yourself more and more frustrated and playing the mental gymnastics of, why am I like this? Why am I always doing this? Why don't I have the result that I want? The answer is simple, because you only do things when it's easy. You only do things when it's convenient. You have to learn to push yourself to do things when it's hard. You have to do things when you are uncomfortable. You have to build the resiliency, and that's the only way you get there. Now, don't get me wrong. There's always a time and place to maybe not track food, like going on a European vacation for 2 weeks. But some of these examples that I'm sharing with you today are all examples of where you need to push through the hard. You won't learn if you're only doing things when they're easy. And by avoiding the hard, you are reinforcing the identity within you that you are somebody who doesn't take care of themselves. You are somebody who never reaches their weight loss goal. You are a flaky friend. You are unreliable. You are not trustworthy. And you are chipping away at your belief in yourself. You are chipping away at your confidence and eroding the relationship with yourself. That right there is more important than the weight you lose, because that is your mental health, that is your self-esteem, and that takes the hit. Only doing things when it feels easy, when it feels convenient, won't get you there. And there are consequences to your mental health, your self-image, and your self-esteem. You have to push yourself when it's hard to do something. You have to push yourself when it's inconvenient to do something. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone to get to where you want to go. And that is true of any goal you have in life. And that push is going to set you up to maintain any weight you lose and to keep the habits that you have. And the people who push through that are always the people who get there. The people who don't are the ones who sit and wonder why they continue to spin their wheels and play the mental gymnastics. This is the inner work, the psychological stuff, that prevents a lot of people from reaching their goals. Right here, what I'm talking about. It's never the basics. I always tell people, you just need a calorie deficit. You just need to focus on your protein and fiber, get your steps, make sure you're getting some strength training, make sure you're sleeping, don't eat like a jerk, don't drink tons of alcohol. Like, all the simple stuff works to lose weight. It works every single time, but it's always the psychological and emotional stuff that get in the way. Right here. And it's the stuff that most people aren't telling you. A lot of women will dismiss what I'm talking about today, but this is the truth. And once you embrace getting outside of your comfort zone, it's going to set you free. Because avoiding discomfort, avoiding the hard, is what's keeping you stuck. So that means you got to step up and stop avoiding discomfort. Because the discomfort is what's going to help you get there. Something versus nothing. That's always your mentality. Okay, ladies, hope this was helpful. I will talk to you soon. Hey, If you enjoyed this podcast, you have to come check out my free weight loss class. It's the 5 steps to lasting weight loss, how hormones impact weight loss, and the truth about lasting weight loss without relying on willpower, workouts, or deprivation. Click the link in the show notes to watch that free class today. And if you are a woman over 35 with 20 to 50 or more pounds to lose, schedule a free weight loss breakthrough session with me after you watch that class. And let's talk about your 20 to 50 or more pound weight loss plan.